Hey everybody, I just wanted to hop on here real quick because a couple of days ago I saw this post on Instagram, and it was this picture of rosemary. And the person posting it said that if you rub rosemary on the bottoms of your feet at night, then it'll help protect against EMFs. And so that's all it said, though. It didn't say why it would do that or anything like that. So I decided to look into it. So I looked into EMFs first. Just to see, because once I looked up EMFs, then it started talking about 5G and stuff, and so I'd heard that 5G was bad, but I hadn't looked it up yet, why it was bad. So I finally looked into it, and it was very interesting, and then I looked into why rosemary helps, and that was interesting, so I thought I'd share. Okay, so first, EMFs, basically electromagnetic frequencies. They come from anything electronical and wireless, like phones or computers that connect to Wi-Fi, your watch, maybe your Apple Watch, whatever, TVs, those two. It's basically just radiation, in small doses, but still radiation. So they can damage DNA, which can, cause or result in like cancer or dementia, stuff like that. Radiation pokes holes in the barrier between your circulatory system and your brain, which lets toxins into your brain. And then there's also this study that if you spend an hour on the phone, then the antioxidants in your saliva are reduced by 25%. And that's super crazy because the antioxidants in our saliva is kind of like the first line of defense, because whatever gets in your mouth, bacteria or whatever, you want to kill as much as possible before you swallow it, and it gets to the rest of your body. So that's pretty crazy. So then I started looking into 5G because I had no idea what it was. So basically, electrical frequencies get measured in hertz, the hertz scale, and 1 hertz is 1 cycle per second. So then there's also gigahertzes, which is something kind of new, and that's 1 billion cycles per second. 1 gigahertz is 1 billion cycles per second. This high amount of frequency isn't even found in nature. It's only man-made through machines. And so 5G uses microwave technology that is in the 30 gigahertz range. So that would be 30 billion electromagnetic pulses or whatever, cycles per second. Most wires in like houses or stuff are built for 60 hertzes, not 30 gigahertz. But so the 5G technology was approved in 2016, and I'm just now getting around to looking it up. Oh well. So they did this because the lower frequencies were getting saturated, and so they weren't working, or they were super slow. So they did this to make things faster, to get, the internet to work faster or whatever. But they haven't really considered the costs. I have a whole page here of all the symptoms that can come from microwave radiation. So I'm going to read them to you because it's pretty crazy. Symptoms of microwave radiation: fatigue, headaches, heart palpitations, high-pitched ringing in the ears, dizziness, disturbed sleep at night, sleepiness in daytime, moodiness, irritability, unsociability, feelings of fear, anxiety, nervous tension, mental depression, memory impairment, pain in muscles, pain in the region of the heart, breathing difficulties, inflammation, oxidative stress, autoimmune responses, reduced blood flow to the region of the thalamus, pathologic leakage of the blood-brain barrier, deficit in melatonin metabolic availability, and is also associated with cancer, heart disease, neurological dysfunction, immune system suppression, cataracts of the eyes, and sperm malformation. So basically every system in our body is affected by radiation and damaged by microwave radiation. And 5G is basically just really, really high microwave frequency. So I also found about 5G that it used to be, or maybe still is, I don't know. In the past, it has been used as a defense for crowd control by the Russians, the Americans, and the Chinese. The U.S. Army uses millimeter waves in crowd dispersal guns Sorry, that didn't make any sense. They have these crowd dispersal guns, and they're called active denial systems. And I found a quote, and this guy said that if you're unlucky enough to get hit, it feels like your body is on fire. So they're using this technology that they have used in the past for crowd control that is harmful, and they know it is, and now it's in everything, and it's in our phones, and it's in the air everywhere. The only way you can really get away from it, I don't even know if you can, but the only plausible way of getting away from it would be to get away from all technology and go where there's no service, which would be like, I don't know, Montana or something. So it's kind of impractical to say that to protect against EMFs, I'm not going to be exposed to EMFs, because you pretty much are. Even if you don't have it yourself, if you live near anyone, you'll be exposed to it a little bit. It is a good idea to try and minimize your amount of exposure, in whatever way is practical for you. But one other thing that I found was radiation exposure standards are based on the false assumption that there are no hazardous effects at intensities that do not cause tissue heating. So basically they say if you're exposed to this frequency and it doesn't heat up your tissues, then it's fine. But studies have actually shown that both extremely low frequencies and radio frequencies occur at intensities that are too low to cause tissue heating. So they don't heat up your tissue when you're exposed to them, but they do still cause damage. And it actually has the studies has shown that it will still result in an increased risk of cancer. And those are very low frequencies. So then just imagine the high frequencies up here with 5G. It's crazy. So the putting rosemary on your feet. If you put rosemary on your feet, the reasoning behind your feet and not somewhere else is because everything in your body, all your organs and skin and skin is an organ, everything is connected to the bottoms of your feet through nerves and whatever. So if you put it on the bottom of your feet, then basically rosemary will have reached your entire body within a few seconds. I think it's like if you put an essential oil on it, it gets to your entire body in 26 seconds. And then the bottoms of your feet is really great. And that's like reflexology stuff if you want to look into it. That's pretty cool. So since we are all pretty much being exposed to radiation, whether we want to or not, there are some steps you can take to help your body protect itself. So number one is eating a diet high in foods that are nourishing to your cells and keeping them strong, because radiation attacks the cells. So foods like egg yolks, red meat, raw dairy, and homemade bone broth. You also want to minimize exposure. And then rosemary is this great herb that works really well. You can eat it or put it on as an essential oil, whatever. Studies have shown that there's something in rosemary. There's an acid called carnosyl acids, and those protect against mutagenic activity. It helps your body to use its own defense mechanism to fight damage caused by radiation. There's compounds in rosemary that are also known to kill free radicals, which damage cells. And there's another acid called rosmarinic acid, which delays the formulation of toxins. And so in this study that they did, they concluded that using rosemary offers the body as much as 3.4 times greater protection than any other compound that they used in this study. So the carnosyl and carnosic acids in rosemary are also fat-soluble, which provide a very powerful anti-mutagenic activity for your cells, because if it was water-soluble, it doesn't help, so it has to be fat-soluble. So, rosemary. You can eat rosemary, or drink rosemary tea, or use rosemary. You can put it on. I feel like there's a vitality oil, so you could even get the rosemary vitality oil and put it in water and make your own rosemary tea, or put it in capsules and whatever. Or you can diffuse it. So I'm going to be using all kinds of rosemary. I'm going to be using it constantly. I need a new bottle because this one's almost empty. And I'm going to probably smell like rosemary a lot. We also used to make rosemary chicken. It was really good. It was basically just like a whole chicken and rosemary sprinkled on it, and like olive oil, I think, in the crock pot, and it's delicious. So eat rosemary, use rosemary. We'll smell like rosemary together. Okay, bye.